Okay, Great Bank offers a $100,000 30-year 5% fixed rate loan with closing costs of $500 plus 1 point. Big Bank offers a lower rate of 4.75% on a 30-year loan, but with Great Bank closing costs of $1,000 plus 2 points. Evaluate the two options. Okay, so let's first look at the payments of both. So Great Bank, let's see what the monthly payment would be for it. So we got 100,000, and then we have 0.05 over 12, 1 minus 1 plus 0.05 over 12, raised to the negative 12 times 30 power. Okay, so let's get out my calculator here. 0.05 divided by 12 times 100,000. I get 416.67. That's for the numerator, by the way. We still got to go do the denominator. So 0.05 divided by 12. We want to add that to 1. And then I want to raise this to the, let's see, 12 times 30 power. And I want to subtract 1 from that. So 1 minus 0.224. And I get 0.776. And again, you might be a little bit more accurate than I am if you type that in a calculator. So I want 416.67 divided by 0.776. And I get about 536.98. If you actually keep the decimal accuracy, you should get 536.82. But that's okay. We get about $536. And then we're going to compare that to Big Bank. So Big Bank, we have 100,000. I got the right zeros, one more. 100,000 times 0.0475. So 1 minus parentheses 1 plus 0.0475 divided by 12, negative 12 times 30. Okay, so again we'll do that in our calculator. So 0.0475 divided by 12, and then times 100,000. I get 395.83. And then we want to worry about that denominator there, so 0.0475 divided by 12. All right, add that to 1. And I want to raise that to the negative 12 times 30. And I want to subtract that from 1, so 1 minus 0.241. And I get 0.759. And again, you'll probably be more accurate than I am. Oops. All right, so 395.83 divided by 0.759. And we get about 521.5. If you're more accurate, it should be 521.65, but 0.51 is what I had. Okay, so let's kind of think about how much money. Obviously, one is cheaper than the other. So let's see if we go 536.98 minus 521 point 36.98 minus 521.51. So about $15 a month. So about $15 difference. Okay, so let's kind of think about what we would be paying each month. So for Great Bank, closing costs would be $500. So closing costs would be $500 plus 1 point. 1 point is 1% of the original loan. So that's another $1,000. So we would pay $1,500 up front. Okay. With the big bank, all right, so they're going to charge us $1,000 plus 2 points. So that's another 2% of the home loan. So that would be another $2,000. So total there would be $3,000. Okay, so that's one consideration, is that the cheaper option is going to cost you almost twice as much up front. If, again, this is about a $15 difference between the two payment options. So if you think about this in terms of time, let's see, so if we take the 15 times the 12 times the 10, okay, so now here's an even more interesting thought. The money you would save, so by spending the extra $15 per month for the big banks, you're paying a lower closing costs. You would end up spending $1,800 more on this. So it's really $1,500 plus $1,800 plus the $1,500. Oops, 1,800 plus the 1,500. Okay, so technically, big bank is cheaper in the long run, but not by much. So you really, in comparing the two choices, it really comes down to upfront what you want to be able to spend. So if you want to have a cheaper closing costs, then you'd go with Great Bank. But if you're able to afford the closing costs, then you would save more money in terms of big bank. So maybe you want to go with that route. But anyways, that's how they compare those two things. Okay, you have a choice between a 30-year fixed rate loan at 4% and an ARM first-year rate loan of 3%. Now, neglecting compounding and changes in principal, estimate your monthly savings with an ARM during the first year on a $100,000 loan. Suppose that the ARM rises to 5% by the third year. How will your payment be affected? Okay, so we're going to compare the fixed rate to the variable rate and see if we can identify a distinct difference between the two. So let's first set up our formula. Okay, in a very general sense, we're in the fixed rate loan, since we're only paying 4% of the $100,000 each year, that means our interest is about $4,000. Whereas in the variable rate, our interest here is about $3,000. Okay, so that's a difference of $1,000 per year. And if we look at it per month, it's about $83, give or take. Okay, now that means we're saving $83 when we stick with the variable rate loan. But when the percent switches to the 5% mark, now that $1,000 we're saving now is going to cost us. So that 83 per month switches from hurting us in the fixed rates. Now it's helping us on the fixed rate because the variable rate is going to pay more. So that's sort of the gamble with a variable rate versus fixed rate, in that when it's low, great, but you don't know how long that's going to be. So you might end up saving more money in the long run, or you might end up paying more just from switching from 1% to the other. So sort of a risky investment either way.